there's much more to this holiday than just leisure, family get-togethers, drinking and eating. To understand the history and culture behind the National Day holiday, I have invited a few friends to come to a party. Now the invitation is ready, and of course, one of the guests is you.
You are cordially invited to take part in a special internet broadcast
to celebrate the 72nd anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China.
See you at 8 p.m. on September 30th. Yours sincerely, Youth Power.
How cool! I'm so excited!
Hello, my name is Yu Tongzhong.
Hello, my name is Mido.
Hello, my name is Lilia.
Hi, my name is Catherine.
Hi, my name is Jonathan.
Okay, so everyone welcome. And I've heard that each of you has brought a gift.
So my gift is a letter that I wrote for President Xi Jinping. That's because we had the opportunity to engage on a tour that took us to different cities in China, and I participated in one in Guangdong province. So I wrote how transformational this experience was and how important this would be to also provide it for more young talent like us, so we get to understand China better. Because we live in China, we think we know China, but there is so much more about China to explore and get to know. So I told him about the importance of doing these exchanges, especially for people that aspire to do big things like trying to also become president of Colombia. So for me, understanding China is key in my plans for the future. So that was the letter, and I encourage more people to come study, live, work in China, and also call China home, the same way that I do and that we all do here today. So that was my letter.
Yes, this is amazing, but let me ask you, after all, did you get a response from President Xi?
He actually replied.
Whoa!
Actually replied to us, yes.
So what was your reaction when he replied?
I didn't believe it. I was very surprised because he took the time not only to read it and reply, but he also spoke highly about the importance of providing more cultural exchanges between different young talent around the world and China, and how all the remarkable things that China has been able to accomplish in the last years, in the last century, is also due to the commitment and the hard work of the people working for the last 100 years, which is also one of the things that we're celebrating this year, the 100 years anniversary of the party, and how that's important in the development and growth of China.
So you came from Colombia, and you've also lived in Canada, right? And then you have moved now to China. And how is the experience different? Like, what was your first impression when you came here?
Well, the first impression of China is that is too far away from those ideas that you have about China. One of them, for example, is that China is polluted and you couldn't see the sky, the blue sky, because of the pollution. But then you come here and you see the blue skies, you go to the Great Wall, you experience how much diversity and beautiful places China has.
So you, of course, speak English and Spanish and maybe a tiny bit of Chinese. So do you think that then when you actually come into China, it's very important to learn the language?
I think definitely yes. If you really want to do more things in China, is obviously better to speak the language so you can really connect with the local people.
But it's very difficult, I would say, right?
Yes.
Even though
is very different, because at least for a Spanish speaker, you can really understand like French or Italian, Portuguese, or those languages are easy to assimilate. But Chinese and the characters is like, what is this?
Tunes.
It's so different.
Tunes.
Zhengxi, you also had that similar experience, right?
Yeah, but it's a little
very
bit different because in my first time to be here in China, I was like, okay, why Chinese people can't fly?
Why can't Chinese people
Yes,
fly?
because I was like used to watch the Chinese movies, and every Chinese movies, all of the Chinese people, like Hong Fei Hong, Bruce Lee, or Jackie Chan. Oh, and I was, why they can't fly? And after that's like
So kung fu-based movies.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you tell us about wushu?
Oh yeah, right.
You can fly, like go.
You can fly.
Yeah, exactly. You're dressed this way, right? This is martial art, right? Is it?
Yeah, it's wushu. The ones that we learn are totally different from the movies where they actually do fighting. When we learn it, it's usually like a couple of moves together in like a string makes a tao. Like 一套拳.
Yeah.
And also the movies, I think there's some moves that don't
Really
actually
real. Yeah,
do.
True. So there are a lot of props that they actually use. Not some of them are all real combating, right?
Yeah.
True. Wonderful. So Catherine, I also saw there's a very lovely gift you have brought.
Yeah, so we've been through some difficult times since last year, and I know that also China is a very welcoming culture as well. As Confucius once said, how delighted we are with friends from afar.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, I do wish that there will be much more visitors, foreigners that would come back to China as well. And also from the foreigners that are currently in China to go back and see their families as well.
True.
So yeah, that would be my gift for China.
I suppose you guys haven't been back home for a long time?
I haven't been back and seen my grandma and grandpa and my little cousin Audrey. She's already grown up on me.
Yes. No, you know, now we are using WeChat. Even my mother, my brother, my father, we are using WeChat, and we have a group in WeChat called
To communicate.
Family, lovely family.
Typical names to name the
yes,
WeChat groups.
Yes, and every day they can call me, like for a video call. How are you doing? I'm doing great, you know. And because of my brother, his wedding will be after 2 months, and maybe I won't be able to go to like celebrate his wedding.
Little bit sad story. Yeah, but I'm sure that with
I can use her plane.
Yes, exactly.
True. But I mean, with the concerted effort, I believe that we can definitely bring the COVID pandemic back into its cage, and hopefully people can travel more freely to have, you know, the true, genuine connections face to face sooner or later. So I have a quick question though. Who do you want to invite, for example, into China if the international travels are going back to normal? And where would you like to take them to? So, for example, Zhengxi.
I will invite my mother because every day I found that she is very curious about the Chinese culture. Because every time I have been in, like for example, Sichuan or Guangdong
province?
Yes, this kind of city, and she loves for the building, and she like how's it panda so much. So yeah, I wanted to invite her to go to Sichuan.
So she has not been inside China before?
No.
Okay.
No. She were preparing to come here by the end of this year.
Great. How about you, Catherine?
So the class I'm currently in, we have 16 students in total, but there's only 3 of them, including myself, that are on campus.
Oh.
So I do hope to invite those 13, the rest of the class, to come on campus into China, since some of them never visited China before. And definitely I will start with Beijing because it's the capital city, but I also hope that they could go in the southern part of China because it's a very different culture from what we can see in the northern part.
Great. So the next, let's invite Lily to introduce your gift to everyone.
My gift is a wushu performance.
Oh, nice.
great performance.
Yes.
So, lastly, but not least.
So my gift is like, it's so simple, but it was very important for the ancient pharaohs in Egypt. So it's some kind of, I don't know how to say it, amulet. 护身符.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amulet.
So the ancient pharaohs, they used to use these kind of things to protect themselves from the evil souls. So it's my gift for China. I wish that China won't face any kind of evil soul, and it will be a very peaceful country. Yeah, so it's my gift for China.
I've also prepared a small gift for the 72nd anniversary of the founding of People's Republic of China. And I'm not sure if you can understand this, but it says 南昌八一起义70周年纪念. So I was born in Nanchang, Jiangxi province.
Wow.
And it's the city that we call a red city because it was in 1927 that the Communist Party of China had its first military resistance against the Kuomintang counter-revolutionaries. And 70 years later, which is also, the time this very souvenir was made, was the year I was born, which was 1997. So this little gift is a coin that was made that year, especially to celebrate the Nanchang uprising that pretty much declared the opening of the Chinese Civil War in 1927.
That has a lot of signification.
Yeah. Okay, so today we've also prepared a really fun game that we can play together. So you guys have all seen these little gifts and souvenirs, and it's very kind of you to have prepared your respective gift. And these will also go back with you, but that small challenge before you can get these gifts would be that, game challenge. So, are you guys ready? No? All right, get ready. So, when do you guys think this term can date back to? 国庆. China has a long history.
不是1949年.
Qing Dynasty, the latest.
Still too recent. of
Qing
number.
始皇.
Maybe 2000.
2050? 1050.
2,700.
2,700. Okay, so it's 1,000 away from the accurate answer. The accurate answer should be around 1,700 years ago.
Wow.
So it was the Beijing dynasty when the 国庆 term was first found. 2,000, yeah, is the closest.
Yeah.
All right, you get to get one. Would you like to get this?
Oh,
There you
so
go.
what? Can I open?
Yeah, of course you can open.
Yay!
There you go.
Great.
Whoa!
Would you like to show everyone?
I think it comes with a paintbrush.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
We talked about the term of 国庆, and now what about 中国 as a term? When do you think this one can be dated back to?
3,300.
I'll just say 3,000.
If my answer was wrong, would you take mine?
No.
Okay,
That's
great,
one to
great.
keep.
Okay, sounds great. Maybe like 3,800.
4,000 maybe?
4,000?
Okay.
All right. So the correct answer, you got really close. I was very surprised there, but she got closer. Sorry. It was exactly around 3,000 years ago when it was first used.
Wow.
So very, very
That was
accurate.
1,000 years ago.
Good with history. So which one would you like to pick?
It was 1,000 years
I'll
old.
you
just
like to?
take this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Thank
With
you.
all the kittens.
Yeah.
Those are 3,000 years old.
Well, they have 9 lives, as some
Exactly.
mythologies go, so maybe they do live up to 3,000 years. Which national day is the greenest?
Ireland.
Pakistan.
And the correct answer is indeed Ireland.
Oh.
It's St. Patrick's Day. Which country does not have an official national day?
Ethiopia.
Do you have any idea?
I don't know my country. I've never been.
The country also speaks English.
Oh, give us some help, like the first letter of this country.
Usually when you see the full name of it, the first letter will be, or the first word will be the.
Oh, come on.
It's an article, sorry. It's the.
Okay, for proximity, I would say the United Kingdom.
I agree with it.
I suppose when that's public opinion, most of the time it could be correct. So the answer is indeed the United Kingdom. And then you get to pick one. Which one would you like to get?
Oh wow, that's a fancy mug. That's
Awesome.
nice.
Very good.
Yeah, for my coffee, my Colombian coffee in the morning.
Exactly. Colombian coffee in the Chinese ceramic or porcelain mug.
Perfect
Wonderful.
combination.
Exactly. Culture exchange there.
There you go.
There's one country that actually has 5 different national days, which is quite surprising.
South Korea.
North Korea.
India.
Japan.
So the correct answer is the Republic of Korea, which is South Korea.
Oh.
So very good. You get to have the very last gift. And
Wow.
what is it?
It's a notebook.
So perfect for the new semester.
Yes.
So everyone gets to go home with a small gift. And thank you very much for all the gifts and souvenirs you've brought to celebrate the 72nd anniversary of the People's Republic of China.
Cutting it with my.
So besides the guests we have here today in this room, we are also going to invite a very special guest on the other side of the screen. Hi there. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
It's great to see you. Could you tell us a little bit about Xinjiang? Because has any one of us been there before? Not yet.
I
Not yet.
haven't
Yeah,
yet.
so-
I really want to though.
Exactly.
So could you tell me a little bit about it so that like I can prepare for when I go there?
Xinjiang is really big and it's really hot in summer here and extremely cold in winter and it snows a lot.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any special foods that we must have a try?
that like you really like and you think that we should try it too?
Big plate chicken, 大盘鸡, that's my favorite. Special noodles called ramen, and the most famous one is polo. And in Chinese, we call it 抓饭, and I know a place where they serve the best polo. And I can take you there if you want to have a taste.
Yeah, we have heard also that you have prepared a present, right, for the 72nd anniversary of the PRC. Can you show us?
Well, the first thing that popped in my mind was a cake. Ta-da!
That's a big one with the flag and the 72 on top of it.
First, look at the shape. It's a heart. And I got a heart one, not a circle one, since heart shapes can represent my love to my motherland. And second, look, a flag. And I made a national flag since it's not my birthday, it's my motherland's birthday. Third, look at the picture. Guess who's that little girl? And if you don't know, I can tell you. That's me. Look, 72. That means it is the 72nd birthday of our motherland. And the flowers, blue sky, white clouds, and the rainbow. Since my motherland is beautiful and my life is colorful, that's why I made a rainbow and put it here. And fourth, the sides, they're covered with nuts. And these nuts are called raisins, almonds, and walnuts. And fifth, look at this beautiful pattern. In Xinjiang, we call it atlas. And it's very beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if we go to visit Xinjiang one day, which place do you want us to visit the first?
I think Wumoji can be your first place to visit. Not only because it is the largest city in Xinjiang, but also because you can find all the delicious, wonderful traditional food here. Happy birthday, my motherland! You've been doing so much for us. I hope when I grow up, I can do a lot for you and make our motherland more stronger and more prosperous. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. That's very lovely. There we are. Here is the 72nd anniversary party. So I'm wondering though, because we come from many different countries, right? So Egypt, Colombia and Canada, and France, and also America. Of course, I'm from China. So we all have our own national days, and there will be different celebrations and stories and meanings behind. So I'm really curious though, for example, in France, how has it been celebrated?
So what we have each day is fireworks on the Eiffel Tower. So I think many of us might have seen some pictures on the 14th of July. And we also have some military parades on the Champs-Élysées.
The big rows,
yes,
very typical one.
Yes. A fun fact of it is on the National Day, most of the shops are closed, except for bakeries.
Okay.
So that shows how bread is important
Baguette.
for the baguette for French people.
Great. So any other stories about how you guys would celebrate your national days?
In Colombia, for example, is celebrated on July 20th. And it's a national holiday, so people don't work and most shops will be closed. But one of the particularities is that everyone would take the Colombian flag out of their windows or their balconies, and then you just flag it so everybody to show their pride and for everybody to see.
Nice. And what about in Egypt?
Actually, it's like almost the same with France or Colombia, but it's in 23 of July in Egypt. We have some kind of military show.
Yeah, military.
Yes, but we are not doing this in the street. We're just doing it in the military school. By attending of the president
speech.
Yes. And the second one, we used to watch a movie like every time we're watching some. It was this movie was talking about we have to learn how to be proud of being Egyptian and like our freedom. We have to be freedom. The third difference is. I don't know if Colombia or France, even China, maybe don't have this kind of,
a specialty or?
方式.
method,
yes, celebrating.
Yes.
Yes, so our planes, they're dropping some kind of lottery ticket.
Oh,
yes,
that's
so
interesting.
so you can win like some kind of fridge or a television or maybe iPhone or something. You can just pick one and
that's
it's
nice.
How lucky you are if you get this kind of lottery ticket. So
I see the eyes of everyone.
Yes, you have to celebrate in Egypt. Maybe you'll get an iPhone.
And so you guys have either been here for say 13 years or 3 years or almost 9 years, right? So besides, for example, getting with families and stuff, how do you then usually spend the Golden Week holiday?
I remember, I think it was when I was in first grade or second grade. It was national holiday, and so like our class had like a little party, like with banners and everything, and there were a couple of kids who would do like a little show. On that day, there's usually like a fireworks show close to our house, and so me, Mom, Sagan, and Dad, we just get up to the window and look at that and watch that all night. It's actually kind of fun to watch. Like, we love fireworks.
So you would also take videos and share with your friends elsewhere?
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of Chinese people would actually go to, say, the Tiananmen Square to see the flag raising ceremony to remind them that this year was one of the most important dates in China's history. and also to commemorate it with the people all around, especially with your phones, taking pictures and videos all the time of everything. I think also about the whole community thing, about the country as a whole, when we talk about unity and stuff, it's also a very important period of time to remind us of the values of those. And what about you? So you said you've been to the Tiananmen Square, but not on that very day.
Yes, before being here in China, every time I'm watching the China Military show in TV or in Facebook, or I think it's like, they are using Photoshop or some kind of, it's so hard. I don't know how did they made it. The soldier, every move, everything they are doing, it's like perfect. Even if
exactly the same.
Yes,
Identical.
it's exactly the same. Even if they are going to how say it,
head.
Yes, it's like wow. That was the point I was talking about.
Yeah.
They all look
Look.
in sync.
Yes, almost the same.
Oh gosh.
They're synchronized to like the second.
To a formidable level.
Unbelievable.
I knew that in their training, like in front of each line, they would actually have a line up. So they would like really synchronize you to the point that you just touch the line and do not like get too high or too low with your feet.
That's a lot of dedication.
Women as well. This is majestic.
The commemoration that you spoke about, like people like die getting independence, and this is also the time for that. When I was a kid, I used to do this. I used to play in the band. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's
The United States.
That's.
They have the parades with the balloons.
Is that?
Okay, this is fine.
I don't know if they will jump into fire.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Oh gosh, is it what? It's like acrobatics.
Yes.
Emmanuel Macron.
Yes, the current president of France.
A lot of horses.
That's from very similar to the style of Napoleon at that time as well.
The color.
So, yes.
I can always recall the day of the founding ceremony of the People's Republic of China back in 1949, even though I of course haven't experienced it myself. But my grandpa, he is always, telling us the stories of how he, as a kid at that time, watched it or listened to the radio of that very ceremony. And I, of course, like many other Chinese kids, have studied the text and have watched the video clips of it. Okay, so the founding ceremony. This is the actual recording of the audio. So about the planes, there is also a fun fact about it. There were 2 batches of planes, but it was because also it's too few a number for a newly established state. So actually, after the first batch, they flew, past the Tiananmen Square. They went back to join the second batch, so that it appeared there would be more planes. Now they don't need to fly the planes twice. the flag raising ceremony, it lasted 46 seconds, and it would not be as easy as many people thought, because as you already know, Tiananmen Square is huge, right? So there was a lot of people there to make sure that people could actually see the flag. The pole should be tall enough. But when it was back in 1949, it was really, really hard to raise a flag with the automated mechanicals and stuff to raise it to such a height. So they worked really, really hard on how to raise it. The chairman Mao Zedong announced the founding of the People's Republic of China 72 years ago, and he is not only the chairman, but also he is a very famous poet. And I know that you two speak very good Chinese and have recited a lot of poems. So why don't you show us one of the poems you guys have recited of Chairman Mao Zedong?
Yes.
Would you like to? Of course. Great. All right, there you go.
北国风光，千里冰封，万里雪飘。望长城内外，惟余茫茫。大河上下，顿失滔滔。
山舞银蛇，原驰蜡象。欲与天公试比高，须晴日看红装素裹，分外妖娆。
江山如此多娇，引武术英雄竞折腰。西秦皇汉武，略述文采；唐宗宋祖，稍逊风骚。一代千骄，成吉思汗，只是弯弓射大雕。俱往矣，数风流人物，还看今朝。
So the People's Republic of China was founded 72 years ago, and for many of the Z generation, or even the general youngsters, it's a long time ago and they have never experienced themselves. So how then do we remind people that it's very important to have an identification with the country and to realize that they need to contribute to the whole nation?
I think that education definitely plays a big role in that. For example, the French Constitution is based on the French Revolution, and even the model of France, which is fraternity, equality, and liberty, as well as the colors of the French flags. All of those details are derived from the French Revolution. So even in their daily lives, I think French people could just assimilate themselves as French person. Everything that we have today is thanks to this day on the 1789.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's through the education of the core values
Yes.
that the founding of the state, represented, so that we can actually remind the youngsters, the younger generations, to unify the country even more and to identify with the values ever more.
yes, exactly.
What about Colombia?
No, in Colombia it's more about the independence, right? So we celebrate the independence of the country and how it's important to remain united and to build more, understanding between each other and start working towards the same ideal, which is one of the things that I personally admire more about China, is that everyone, the 1.4 billion people, are always working towards the same ideal. And that's how we get to achieve so much in such a short time. So I think that that's a good reminder for everybody to just celebrate like today, like the 72 year anniversary of China, the party,
Mm-hmm.
To just remind people that the only way that to really move forward and achieve more is just remain together.
Exactly.
And support each other.
That's great. So it is indeed a spirit that we need to remind the next generations of, that with a common ideal, with the concerted effort, and with the what we call the sovereignty and also the freedom and the rights that everyone can share together, we can achieve a lot, right? Together. That's the key word here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think there's a similar history behind Egypt.
Yes. So now we are, reminding the next generation about how important is that day by using art. You know, we have a lot of movies, a lot of rules that shows the next generation how hard it was to achieve this goal.
Yes. All of our guests today have also prepared a speech to share their experience about China's National Day holiday or about China in general. So now, as the audience, we're all ears.
Hello everybody, my name is Liliana May Nilsson. My Chinese name is Jing Jing. I'm 9 years old. I am an American but was born and grew up in China. I like it here very much. I go to local schools, and there are no other foreign kids in my class. I like going to school here very much. It's actually kind of fun. Because I like being with my classmates, my friends, and my teachers while learning. And I also like Chinese foods very much. My favorites are hot pot, yang chua, and jiaozi. I remember when I was 5 years old, my dad asked me what was my favorite Chinese food, and I said, pizza! Because I had only had pizza in China, so I thought it was a Chinese food. I like China because the people are very nice, and I have a lot of friends here. I also like Chinese culture. It has a long history. I like reading Chinese poems. My favorite poet is Li Bai. If there's anything I know about him, it's that he likes traveling China, drinking alcohol, and eating pufferfish. And whenever he writes a poem, for instance, 床前明月光，疑是地上霜，举头望明月，低头思故乡. I also like Chinese stories very much. My favorite are the story of Nian, which is why we set off fireworks during Chunjie, and the story of the poet that jumped into a lake, which is why we do 赛龙舟 and eat 粽子 on 端午节. I also like Chinese festivals very much. My favorite is 春节 because I can get 红包. I also like 端午节 and 中秋节 because we always get together with my 干爷爷, and he always brings me and my brother chocolate. And also know that China has been making great progress over the years. It has overcome poverty, it has improved the environment, and I'm most happy that it has gotten COVID-19 under control. People here can live happy lives, and that includes me. Thank you.
Warm greeting to you wherever you are. My name is Mido and I'm from Egypt. I'm now studying at the Communication University of China in Beijing, and my major is broadcasting and presenting. I'm so happy to be here today to tell you my story. It all began in 2015, a year I can truly say changed my life. I decided to apply to get into the Faculty of Language to study Chinese in my hometown. It was a decision I later regret after finding out how hard Chinese is. So I decided to switch to another language, but when my Chinese teacher heard about this, she wrote me a letter in English saying that everything in beginning is a little bit hard, and if I stuck with Chinese, I will be able to speak it fluently after a few months. There was one question she asked in her letter. Could I identify the Chinese character that means cry? If I could, she said, I would be able to manage this language in a very short time. The answer to her question was on the other side of letter. She said, on the side of the paper appeared the character ku and xiao. I was unfamiliar with this character chose Scoop because to me it really looked like eyes with tears. I was delighted to find out I was right and decided to stick with Chinese. I studied so hard that my Chinese became very good, and I was awarded a scholarship to study for 1 year at Nankai University in Tianjin. And it was 2017 and it was my first time abroad, and I was so excited, but I was also so worried knowing nobody in China. So that worry was misplaced because within a few short months I had many friends, even had 2 Chinese masters teaching me the traditional folk arts like xiangsheng and jindong dagu. The master treated me, I thought I were their own son, and before returning to Egypt, I got to know a very nice Chinese girl and we spent a lot of time together. Going home was so difficult, knowing we will be apart for a year, but the young woman now is my life and I have many friends in China, and for me, this country is now my second home, and thank you so much for listening.
My earliest memories of China dates back to when I was 5 years old, walking in the streets of Sanlitun on an early morning of September. My kindergarten was several blocks away from what we currently know as the Bar Street or 酒吧街, but at that time, Sanlitun was far more different than the vibrant, fashionable place we currently know. It was a simple residential district, just like any other you would find nowadays within Beijing's 4th Ring Road, but just a little bit more westernized due to the heavy influence of the embassies nearby. And little did I know that Beijing would become the place I call home. I came back here a few years later, in 2009, after spending 5 years away due to my father's job. The Beijing of 2009 was completely different from the city of my 2002 memories. It became a vibrant, dynamic, and youthful city where people came to find hope and where dreams were made true. For me, Beijing is the place where I grew up, where my most cherishable memories were made, and where I became the person I am today. It taught me the values that the city depicts, including fairness, dedication, and humility. I came back in 2009 during the 60th anniversary of the People's Republic of China and can still remember that day. I didn't go to the Tiananmen Square. I could feel the excitement within the people that were watching the celebration live. Even though the live broadcast left me astonished, it was only a few years later that I truly became aware of the efforts that were put into the making of the celebration. I checked online a couple of days ago and was blown away by the numbers. 40 million pots of flowers were placed on the Chang'an Avenue. 2 million national flags were used, and 800,000 volunteers were present on that day. As I stood outside contemplating Beijing's autumn, I realized that Beijing was meant to be the place I would call home. And I wasn't wrong. 13 years later, I'm still here, finishing my studies and planning for my future career. I spent more than half of my life living in a country different from my own nationality and grew up to become almost similar to the locals. The way I think, the way I talk, the way I behave, all became more and more Chinese. The other day, I was talking to this French student who grew up in Paris. He told me, even though you are French, you speak good French, and you grew up within a French environment, you still act very Chinese. So I asked him why. He said, you never complain. One detail that makes a person French is that they complain all the time about everything, but I never saw you complaining about anything. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but that proves that the environment really changes a person. Growing up as a third culture kid, I am extremely grateful for all the values different cultures have taught me. I still consider myself very French, but also pretty Chinese. It doesn't bother me to eat 螺蛳粉 with a side of bread and cheese and to speak Chinglish with my friends. At the end of the day, China opened its arm and welcomed me when I was still a little kid. It saw me grow up to become the young adult I am nowadays. And now it's my turn to give back. So if there's anything I would like to say is 中国谢谢你.
Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Lopez and I am a dual citizen from Colombia and Canada. And today I want to share why coming to China changed my life and how it has the potential to also change yours if you allow it to have the opportunity to welcome you to China. So when I was 18 years old, I had the opportunity to leave Colombia to go to see my father, who was in Canada. And that was the first time that I went to another country. I got to Canada, I learned French, improved my English, and I studied university in Canada. During those 4 years of university, I had the chance to go study abroad in universities in the Netherlands and Australia, and also do internships in Ecuador and Australia, traveling to many countries in South America, Europe, and also Asia. By the time I graduated from university, I already traveled to 61 countries, and I was ready to come to China because I got a scholarship to study at Tsinghua University as a Schwarzman Scholar. When it came to China, I had so many ideas, so many perceptions about what China was supposed to be about. And the surprise is that it was nothing like I imagined, in a more positive way, which is something that I didn't expect. When I come here, I realized all the potential that this place has and all the things that I could learn about China. For example, mobile payments was one of the things that struck me the most. Infrastructure, the skyscrapers, all the development and how fast things move in China really allowed me to quickly realize that this is the place where I needed to continue growing in my career, more personally and professionally. So I decided to stay. I graduated from Tsinghua University and then I got a job at ByteDance, which is one of the biggest internet companies in China and now the world. Currently, I work for TikTok, doing a strategy for Latin America. And this is exactly the mission that I set myself to accomplish by being in China, to become a bridge between China and Latin America, particularly Colombia. But the most important thing is that I can be able to become an ambassador and share my story about how being in China impacted me so much, how it changed my life, and why I call China today another home. It's been only 3 years in China, and it's just the beginning. There is so much more that I can continue to learn in this place, and this is just an open invitation for people that are thinking to study abroad, work abroad, or do things anywhere in the world to also consider China. Because this place may be underrated. People may not think about China as a place where they must go. But let me tell you something. This is the place to be. This is a place where you can learn and grow a lot. And this is something that really can change your life as well. So I hope I can see you in China one day, welcome you here as well. And today, I just want to say thank you, China.
I was born in Nanchang, Jiangxi Province in 1997. In that city, 70 years earlier, the Communist Party of China had initiated its first military resistance against Kuomintang counter-revolutionaries. But soon after, the forces of Imperial Japan invaded China and for 8 years inflicted on the people the kind of abject misery that war alone could bring. Ultimately, in 1945, Japan signed the Instruments of Unconditional Surrender that brought World War II to a close. That year, both my paternal and maternal grandmothers were born. As the Chinese Communist Revolution continued to advance towards its eventual triumph, these two girls embarked on very different paths. One joined her father in doing heavy physical labor, hauling ponderous handcrafts that carried goods. In doing so, she helped provide for a family of 7 people. She received little formal schooling, but used her very practical wisdom and strong sense of community to become a leader in the local aquaculture industry. She was a very short woman of, I think, about only 150 centimeters, and perhaps like many of that generation, as New China was just finding its feet and the country was rebuilding, she was malnourished in her childhood. On the other hand, When my mother was growing up, she was relatively well-fed and was healthy enough to give birth to a 4.5-kilogram boy, me. The other grandmother got the chance to receive relatively good formal education. She studied hard, and even though her academic performance was really outstanding, she decided to go to a normal university funded fully by the state, trained to become a teacher. And in the end, she would be one of the first primary school Chinese teachers in my hometown, Nanchang. She taught for more than 30 years, and as you can imagine, thousands of students passed through her classes and now may live in every corner of the globe. After she died, my father carried on in her pioneering spirit and started exploring entrepreneurial opportunities in Shenzhen, the frontier of reform and open up, after studying at a 3-year college. Different generations may shoulder very different responsibilities. The priorities in the case of my grandmothers having been to help feed the stomach of a huge population and to educate the mind of copious youngsters. Though I was brought up in Nanchang in the presence of the glorious red rhododendrons and nourished by red rice and pumpkin soup, I'm now working in Shanghai in an era of material and spiritual prosperity, the fruit of both hard work by Chinese people and of wise governance. And as the country opens ever wider to the rest of the world. However, we should never take this prosperity and the prospects of an ever better future for granted. We should always constantly examine our roles in society, concerned not only about carrying out a fulfilling life for ourselves, but contributing to the greater good. Some may scoff at that notion, cynically arguing that anyone who talks about being of service to the community is ultimately just in it for themselves. Liberalism and individualism might indeed give us the freedom to think and act independently of others. However, our actions inevitably affect those around us and far beyond. We must be aware of our social indebtedness to others and show more tolerance, empathy, and humility in this highly interconnected world. Many kinds of inequalities still persist in the world, and the forces of aggression flex their muscles and insist that everyone should adopt their model of living. The ideas of deglobalization and decoupling, which can surely only spell conflict and division, have become popular in some countries. But let us not give up hope. We should remember that economic growth and social progress do not preclude international influence. The notion that certain people need protecting should not be a pretext for condescending intervention and meddling. And the pursuit of so-called common values should not overlook the obvious fact that different societies have different social values and very different ways of doing things. We need to instead renew our commitment to the values of unity, service, and sacrifice. In doing so, we would all become stronger and better equipped to build a tomorrow that our children and grandchildren will thank us for. Thank you.
祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐。
Happy birthday to you.
Joyeux anniversaire.
Cumpleaños feliz.
سنة حلوة يا جميل.
生日快乐！
祝祖国母亲生日快乐！
祝伟大祖国生日快乐！
祝祖国母亲生日快乐！
生日快乐！
生日快乐！
生日快乐！生日快乐！
生日快乐！